Don't you think it's time that you told Sam you're alive?
You let me worry about what your father needs to know.
I'm even stronger.
Be watching your back out there, Korea.
Then I have nothing to worry about.
Well, I have faith you can get me patched back up, Doc.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Keep an eye on your health and call for me if you need assistance.
Is that better? Is that better? Can you hear me now? I hope so. Hope you guys can hear me now. If not, we'll try this again. Anything? Anything? Guess that's a no. Okay, you can hear now. You can hear now, I think. Okay, so... Okay, here we go. Back towards Zarya. Ha! You don't appreciate the words I said that you couldn't hear? Fair enough. Okay, so let's rewind here. Apologies for the opening, guys, there. Didn't realize my sound wasn't working. Let's set our rewind to the appropriate distance here. What I was saying there, Nyan, is if you're referring to the interview that I will be doing with Major Midget, that's going to be on Thursday. If you were just referring to the fact that I always do a little bit of a, ask questions and I'm generally willing to answer them at the end of videos, then yeah, you can do that whenever. And I'm happy to talk a little bit about MMA. Okay. Now that we have our 5-second rewind, let's do this right. So here we are. You go for this. That's okay. It's not the most amazing bubble in the world. The reason it's not the most amazing bubble in the world, he's fire striking, which sort of makes it better. But you usually wouldn't be hugely in love with this bubble because, well, yes, he's going to get you energy here. They're going to be spamming this choke. The problem that you run into is it doesn't really enable his offense. This bubble doesn't also enable him to swing. You can bubble your Reinhardt just to go, hey, I'm bubbling my Reinhardt and he's getting spammed, and that's fine. It's getting me energy and that's helping me maintain, because it's going to be a good 6, 8, 10 seconds before I'd want to bubble him again for him to get offensive value. But the real bubbles you're looking for on your Reinhardt are the bubbles that allow him to swing at opponents. So they get you energy and they allow him to do damage. Like, those are the real bubbles we're looking for. And by going for this bubble here, that is mostly an energy bubble, you're denying him the ability to 3 seconds from now, get a swing bubble. In this particular case, is it going to matter? Probably not, but you didn't know that he wasn't up against a Reinhardt here. You didn't know that this was a Sigma Winston that he's playing into, that he's going to have a little more safety swinging into in general. So we don't like this. We don't particularly like this, just because you don't expect to have your bubble back in time. And then you just get crushed in here. You really got pretty aggressive with your bubble. So the way your personal bubble works is you go, hey, I can get aggressive, not when my personal bubble is in use, but when I have my personal bubble available to me. The fact that it is available to me is what allows me to get aggressive. Yeah, so you just start sitting here going, yes, I'm going to go here, and you just bubble immediately. You're not even like totally past the threats. You haven't taken any damage. You immediately bubble here, and that means you're immediately on a timer, and your timer's already over. Your timer's already over because you used this bubble like immediately to get aggressive rather than getting aggressive and then going, hey, I'm under some pressure while I'm getting aggressive. Now I'll use my bubble as a tool to help me get out, in which you still get energy from it. You're still getting, your bubble's over. Your bubble's been over for half a second. You're still trying to get more aggressive, probably because you haven't put any real pressure on the opponents yet. And that's the point that I'm getting at, where you get aggressive because your bubble's available. That lets you put pressure on your opponents and potentially decide to maintain that because of the bubble. Here, no dice. You've now been in about a second, and that happens.
Без труда не вытащишь и рыбку из пруда.
Nice, Blah. Nice. Thank you, Blah. I appreciate that. Okay. So I don't love going on this little flank adventure with Zarya, because Zarya okay, you're waiting for a team. Fine. In which case I'd have preferred some more crouch movement, but I'll deal. Again, this isn't amazing. You have no energy, so it's really hard to be a bully. I get that. But you're just popping your personal bubble immediately. Yes, you took 50 damage, but you're just popping your personal bubble immediately. This isn't in response to enemies are shooting at me and I expect them to continue to. This isn't in response to projectiles are coming through the air at you. This is as you break the choke, as you get into neutral space, enemy space, you're just immediately bubbling. You're not going to get the most value you can out of your bubbles or out of your Zarya play if you're doing that. As you can see, your bubble's over, and pressure isn't particularly high on this guy. Now, part of that is because your energy was low coming in, but part of that is because you didn't put yourself in a situation where, hey, if my Reinhardt's coming out here and I'm coming out here, I'm willing to go over here, and I can be willing to go over here, separate from my Reinhardt, take this angle because my bubble is available. If I immediately use my bubble, I now have to be thinking about, well, can I get back to cover very quickly at all times?
Get in there.
It's a reach. Not a good reload.
I claim this objective.
Yeah, it's the do-si-do bubble, which is okay. Don't need that reload either. It's fine. Okay.
I am on fire. Everyone follow me. Barrier activated.
Okay. This was almost better. The reason it was almost better is you didn't have bubble, but pretend you had bubble and didn't press your personal bubble. Pretend you have your personal bubble, but you're not pressing it. Pretend you still have it and are not pressing it. You still have it and are not pressing it because it's only Soldier shooting at you and he hasn't done very much damage to you. And it's harder for people to stop doing damage to you once they've done more damage to you. They're like more drawn to, I want to finish that Zarya. If I'm not suggesting you go down to 50 health before you bubble or anything, but let it be like 100, 150, 200. But anyways, here you are. You're doing this. You're putting pressure on him. This is great. This is great. See this? You haven't even used your personal bubble yet. You're not particularly high energy, and you've been able to bully this soldier hard enough that he's running away. Great. No need to use your personal bubble. If he turns and fights you again, and it's like, hey, Sigma and Soldier are both actually shooting at me, not they should be shooting at me, they're actually shooting at me, sure, we could use this personal bubble. But the fact that we have this personal bubble available to us right now is allowing us to play this deep, this far away from our cover. And we might be able to go even further. We might be able to go here and go, oh, I can be a bully out here, etc., because we still have a personal bubble available. But if we pop our personal bubble immediately just because a lone Sigma is shooting at us, and this Sigma, we're going to get the energy from the 2 orbs that he throws, the damage boosted 2 orbs that he throws, and nothing else. You could have taken those. You had enough health to take those, and you're now on a timer. You now have to go, well, I better be back to my team pretty quickly because my bubble's going to be over. And there really wasn't a good enough reason for you to do this. There really wasn't. You could have gone without this bubble and either tried to stay on the soldier and then bubbled once you got to like here and the Sigma was on his second set of shots and you've put a little more pressure into this and maybe have a real elimination threat. Or you could have turned and said, oh, well, let me put some pressure on the Sigma while I'm here since this soldier is leaving. And that's going to be fine with me. And then, oh, he's continuing to put pressure on me. Okay, now I'll personal bubble, zap him for like 1 more second, and then be backing off with right clicks. That's how you want this to go.
Barrier is on you. Go. Get in there.
Great. So, we went back here. I suppose I can critique this more closely. It's so clear that we need to work on your personals. But here you are. Flux happens. And you're just going, hey, I have 30 health. I'll try and throw right clicks. I'll try and stay out of this.
Get in there.
It's not an amazing bubble. He's retreating with it. He can't get enough value out of it, but it's going to be really hard to win this in general. Yeah, that would have been better. Not if you bubble him there when he's jumping backwards.
Get in there.
But if instead you bubble him here. If you bubble him here, this is better. You're trying to bubble him in such a way in which he can squeeze 2 swings into a bubble. And if you bubble him when he's backing off, he will not pivot in time to do that. He needs to be close enough to swing and preferably already be swinging. Okay. Hey, Andrew. All good. All good. I can, to be fair, I can embarrass anyone. Like, I can embarrass anyone when it comes to their Overwatch gameplay. You don't need to feel particularly ashamed. That said, a little bit of shame can be good, as it'll help you go, oh, I want to do better, I want to improve. What? Okay. Still fine, you're trying to break a barrier. I'll live. What, why? What are we melting? What are we spending ammo on? What is the, huh? 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 Okay, now we're aiming at something. So, you know, that's ammo. That matters. That adds up. Let's try not to shoot at walls. We know that it was physically impossible for us to be damaging anything there. Super embarrassing grab. That's okay. She can't use that. That's a desperation bubble to be like, please get me more energy. Maybe it'll get me out of this situation. Okay. Close the angle. Good. Again, he can't use that bubble. And an energy bubble here isn't really good enough. Not really a great reason for that reload. This reload, you're still finishing your reload totally in line of sight of the opponents. Being behind the cart for a fraction of a second was not enough justification to hit the reload when you had, wait for it, 75 ammo. 75 ammo. This is just delaying your ability to throw your next right click out, your ability to be left clicking this Sigma, etc. No! You think they should be shooting at you, and they probably will shoot at you, but as soon as you pop this bubble, you're on a leash, and it's a very short leash. You've, like, dropped a stake in the ground saying, this is my leash, and I've got less than 2 seconds. Like, I've got this leash, I've dropped my post in the ground, I've got less than 2 seconds. I had full health when I bubbled, so there was no ability for like, hey, I take 100 damage, I bubble, my supports can heal me while my bubble is up, so I get more total durability. There's no ability for you to go, hey, I'm wandering in here, I'm trying to melt this Sigma, or I'm trying to melt this soldier, etc., and I wander up aggressively to here, and then, you know, I've missed 150 health, etc., so then I bubble, and I can greet it, and I can I can make the decision at that time, when I pop my bubble, am I going to stay with this bubble and try to finish off this soldier that I've brought down to 40% health, 30% health while I was being aggressive, or am I just going to start my backing off and I'll still get energy either way, I just risk my life a little more if I stay in to try to melt the soldier, to be a bully, and I don't if I back off. But if I do this immediately, it's actually easier for them to stop firing at you. Your supports can't catch up on you because you're not missing any health, and you apply no real actual elimination threat to this soldier. And if you apply an elimination threat to the soldier, he's going to run and go do that and maybe drop a health station over there, maybe spend time going getting a health pack even if you don't eliminate him. And that's great because that's fine. He had to go do that. Maybe you have to go do the same thing. Maybe you're both spending your support's time healing you up, but you got actual value out of it in the form of energy and he didn't. Okay. Let's get back to this here. Low plat, might have been gold. Okay.
This is not your time. A second chance.
I knew it. I knew it. Oh, as soon as the primal went up, I knew it. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, I can critique it. We can talk about things that you could do better, but that's obviously one of those things where you just go, hey, you know better than to actually do that. Like, if you were going to grab him, you had to grab him quite a bit earlier, not when you were already in this situation.
You're covered. Stronghold back. Ready for battle. You're covered.
Okay. Almost 100 damage. You've taken 70 damage.
Ready for battle.
I mean, at least you sort of wait until he's done his reload animation to do this, but I'm still not worried about you in the slightest. I'm good with you being more of a bully. And I also don't want you directly in front of your Reinhardt like this. I want you angling off. I want you going, hey, my Reinhardt's here, which means I can angle off over here. And now he has to pick, is he going to shoot at me or at my Reinhardt? If he's shooting at me, my Reinhardt can even drop his shield and advance faster on him. If he's shooting at my Reinhardt, great. Then I'll just keep bullying him and I don't even have to use my personal. I can delay its use even more. You might be thinking, but Temporal, why are you telling me to delay my personal bubble's use? I want to use it. I want to use it as much as possible to get as much energy as possible. But no, what you want to do is you want to get as much energy as possible, but you do that by being more threatening. And you're more threatening, you will demand more shots at you if you do things like off angle, shoot from the side because you'll do more damage, because his shield that he throws out will have a harder time blocking you if it's in this direction. His shots, etc., will either be here or on you, etc. You get the idea. Sure would have been nice to have that primal, or to have that personal as a reaction to his rock there. Would have been good energy, would have meant she didn't get stunned, didn't get eliminated. You can go take the aggressive off-angle position that you did take, and I like that you went to take it, but you can go take that because you have your personal bubble available. Like, you're on a leash from your Reinhardt, where it's like, hey, I'm on a leash from my Reinhardt, and this is a much longer leash when I have my personal bubble available, and basically a non-existent leash. I mean, it still exists, but it's a much shorter leash when I don't have my personal bubble available. Like, yes, if I'm here and the enemies are here, this is really powerful. I do a lot of work. If I'm here, this is less powerful. If I have my personal bubble available, I can be here. I can't use my personal bubble to get from here to here. If I don't have my personal bubble available, I probably have to play like here or here, even if I have 400 health. That's fine. That's a purely poke phase bubble. You weren't going to be able to bully anytime soon, so that's fine. You gonna block that? Okay. Why? Why are we reloading? We eliminated her? That doesn't automatically mean reload. We know that we're getting zapped by a monkey. We know there's something else to shoot at. If you think of each one of these reloads as another right click you could have gotten off, you'll realize, wait, I'm missing a lot of damage. It actually takes longer than a right click, but if you think of it as that, you'll realize, oh shoot, I'm missing a lot of damage by mixing in these silly reloads.
Heroes never die.
I'd also generally recommend clearing threats that are sort of behind you, sort of in your group, before going forward to get new ones. That's a general principle. The team with more and greater angles wins, and a Winston behind you is a pretty big angle. Now, that doesn't mean you're always going to turn to deal with the Winston and let your Reinhardt get melted, but if your Reinhardt's in a relatively safe place, he hasn't pushed into the opponent's concave, or you're back here getting melted by him, zapping people to make them leave is pretty good. Zapping someone on the off angle, even a slight one, to make them rejoin the team, to make them leave, is pretty good. That said, you've taken now a pretty extreme angle yourself.
Go.
Interesting reload. Good. You're reloading. You're reloading instead of melting the Sigma with your 75 ammo. That's your teammate. Deal with current threats before acquiring new ones. I wish everyone in ranked could hear that. I hear ya. You know, if Blizzard Activision wants to pay me to do their training thing in the game, like in-game tutorials, we can come to an arrangement.
Give me your best shot. My ultimate is almost ready.
Overwatch 2, want it to be a success, gotta have good tutorials. If this gets eaten by Shift, I'm gonna laugh so hard.
Огонь по готовности.
Just pointing out that he had Shift. Just pointing that out.
Maximum charge.
You don't know where the pair is.
I could use some assistance.
It's a lot of reloading.
Maximum
You
charge.
reload at 23. You shoot a bit. You reload at 64.
Use some assistance.
Like, active fighting is happening right now. Your team is fighting, your team is brawling, and you're mixing in all these reloads. Little better. Touch early with your bubble, but I know what you're trying for.
A temporary setback.
You should be at
No, it didn't get eaten, but you can see why we were ready for it to.
I'm taking care of you.
Not really.
You're covered.
Not really what you wanted to do with a personal or a projected, because look, now your Reinhardt's close enough that you would expect him to have swing targets. He doesn't, so you wouldn't bubble him here, but you're basically at a, oh look, 6 seconds still left on the cooldown because I bubbled him just a couple seconds ago. That's not good enough. Correct.
Get in there.
If you had a personal, you could bully. Okay, it's over. Throw your right clicks.
Ready for battle.
Okay. Yeah, so here you are. This is just kind of aggressive in the first place, to be perfectly honest. Like, your team has totally backed off. Yes, you have a Velt going, but your team has totally backed off. If you can pull this Winston in, if you can go, okay, I did this, now I'm going to personal and get myself back to here, like, immediately, where your team has some crossfire on him with the Valk, maybe. But your team clearly has left you hanging here, and you could tell that. We didn't need to pause the game to go do that. Yeah, it's just pushing too aggressive. Okay. Like, you just didn't read the flow of battle there of how your team had been pushed back based on the resources that the two teams had.
Practice makes perfect.
Yep. I totally understand, but I'm going to point it out a few more times. I'm not pointing it out every time. I'm going to point it out a few more times just because once you see it, it's hard to unsee it. And once you are constantly seeing it, it'll be easier to fix. Okay.
Don't be shy.
Great. You just won the game. Look out for that. Exactly. They need to make an aggressive play like having someone behind you.
Fire's on you.
He wasn't really close enough to swing yet. Now he is, but hey. Again, you didn't really need to reload yet. It could have been, hey, I'm going to throw right clicks at this barrier even. Oof. Okay. Way too early on your Reinhardt bubble. Way too early. I hope you bubble. Huh. You've got 119 health. I don't care that Mercy Beam's attached to you. I want you to bubble because I want you to live and I want you to do more damage to this. And the bubble's going to help you get out. Like, what? Okay. Oh, that's weird. That's weird.
Gravity kill.
Mm-hmm. You're going to flip and bubble your Ryan because you know he's low health, and that's what you have. Mm-hmm. Fine. Okay, let's keep going. We've got some bubbles to work on. We've got some reloads to work on, both of the personal and team bubble variety. Specifically, your Reinhardt, you're bubbling him too early. Yourself, you're just bubbling yourself as soon as you break chokes, as soon as you go out into the open. You're not thinking about how to bully with your bubble at all, which again, what those two things have in common is you're not thinking about how when your bubble is on cooldown, it decreases your team's offensive potential when either bubble is on cooldown. So you want to make sure that the bubbles that you use are enabling your team's offensive potential, that you're getting offensive value out of your bubbles. Either, hey, I was able to bully you because I had the bubble available, and then maybe I use my bubble to finish you, or maybe I use my bubble to get out, but I can accurately make that decision if you're weak before I bubble. I can't accurately make that decision if I bubble on the way in, even if I get the same amount of energy, which you won't. You'll consistently get more energy off of the bullies. And then on the Reinhardt side, I want to bubble my Reinhardt when he is in range to swing, or preferably when he is already swinging. That's what I want to do. I don't want to bubble him as he's walking up to swing, as he's jumping out because he's getting burst down, etc. Again, if it's going to be a good 8 seconds until the fight, you can potentially go even 7 seconds to the fight. I'm going to use these bubbles just for energy. But that's because you're trying to maintain an energy level. You're trying to not fall too much on energy before the fight. If the fight's going to be in 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, you don't want to use your bubbles just for energy. You want to have your bubbles for the actual fight. And if you're going, oh, well, we don't want to fight for 8 seconds, so it's fine. No, it's not, because if the enemies are positioned in such a way that they can force the fight, that's not good enough. Okay, back we go.
Together, we are strong. Reinhardt, you said you would arm wrestle me. Nervous?
Nervous? Me? Never! Not as young as he.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Attackers incoming.
We're up here, we have the high ground, we have a Reinhardt again, all is well with the world.
Get behind!
Okay. It's gonna be hard for them to punish you for that. No, no! I don't know that this is real. In fact, this would be a great bait. This is Soldier. Soldier has sprint. He has legs. He can absolutely, if you drop to deal with this Soldier when he's right here, he can absolutely sprint back and get back up on high ground before you are able to get yourself back up on high ground. This is a terrible idea. Just throw right clicks at him. Totally fine to throw right clicks at him. Throw right clicks. Right clicks. Don't drop. No. I'm glad that Sigma made this push real by coming and joining him here, but I had no sense that this was a real push from them. That this wasn't just bait to get it so that when they came in hard from the left side or high ground, you guys got crushed. Look, they're coming in from the left side to crush you.
Barrier activated.
It's not great.
Barrier is on you.
Yeah, that was not a great bubble. And by putting yourself here, it's hard for you to find a better bubble on your Reinhardt. This isn't what you do, though. What you'd do is you'd play a little more around this corner still, because these guys still don't like short range as much as you do. So you would still play around this corner. You can do some peek right clicks if you want and do that. And you'd go, is there a way for me to hit the Reinhardt with the bubble? There isn't. I think you're backing up here because you realize, hey, shoot, I can't get projected bubble value playing right here, which is true, but that's really why you shouldn't have dropped in the first place. And then you're popping your personal bubble because you're scared walking across this opening. Which I get, but they're not actually shooting at you.
Don't worry, my friend.
The reloads. That bubble doesn't work. Temporal, watch out. Your computer is within 10 degrees of overheating. My computer's fine. But thank you, Jumbo. I appreciate you watching out for my computer.
Heroes never die. We still need
We could talk about positioning. We could talk about using the doorway cover better. Not going to be the next things for you.
My ultimate is charging.
Can you take high ground?
enemy seen.
A little bit early.
Give me your best
Okay,
shot.
worked out. It's depressing how little damage the 12 energy Zarya does to a Nano Sigma. Why do we always have to talk about something? Let's just talk, have a nice, calming conversation. That's fair, Jumbo. That's fair. Let's chat. Let's just have a calming conversation.
Огонь по готовности.
Huh.
Огонь по готовности.
Well, that was, ambitious. You want to send off a grav? I mean, yeah, you sent that into the wall and the shield. I don't even think the primal messed up your aim there. I think you just hit that there. That's not great.
Heroes never die.
Barriers on you. Go.
Jumbo charges for pleasant conversations. That's fair. I could understand why it would be enough work for you, Jumbo, that you'd have to charge for them. Being a pleasant human being is hard.
Get in there. I'm just warmed up.
And obviously, for anyone that's not aware, I'm just, having fun with Jumbo here. Jumbo's fun to work with.
Your support has arrived. You should be at peak
I'm even
performance level.
stronger.
60 seconds remaining.
Hello.
Let's get
Ah, dead mans.
Go.
Okay.
Maximum charge.
Have some fun. Give me free coaching. Checkmate tomorrow. Well played. Well played. Okay, so again with these, we have this going,
Огонь по
and I'm just not a
готовности.
huge fan of this because I know you're getting fluxed. Like, I know you're getting fluxed, so I have questions about are we gonna get the value here? We did this time. Did you really just join your team while the tire was going off? Your tire, okay. Ha!
10 seconds remaining.
Get in there. Ready to start.
Okay. Why is your crosshair still down here? You know the Zarya's up there. And you knew she was going to be up there.
10 seconds remaining.
I need healing.
Why are there not right clicks? Like, it's hard to hit Zarya's, but why have there not been right clicks on her approach? Is this like Zarya's hard to aim at, so I'm just gonna look away? I'm just gonna look away, and if she's not there, maybe she won't shoot at me. Maybe someone else on my team will shoot at her. No, no. You throw right clicks at her because you had nothing better to do. Is it hard to hit her? Yeah. But does it feel awesome when you do? Absolutely.
Barriers on
Heroes never die.
Mm-hmm. You're willing to zap her, you're just not willing to try to throw right clicks at her. Again, you're reloading when that Mercy was perfectly available to melt.
barriers on you.
Okay. Okay, so things that we're going to have you work on. The first thing we're going to have you work on is going to be it's going to be your reloads because that's going to be the hardest habit for you to break. You're going to focus on your reloads. There's a couple tricks to this. The real key is you want to be going, I should not be reloading before 0 ammo unless there are no enemies on my screen, not because I've tucked myself behind cover for no reason, but there's no enemies on my screen, and I don't expect there to be any enemies on my screen for my reload duration, the insane amount of time that takes for Zarya. Like, that's what you're doing. And you're not going behind cover just so that you get an excuse to reload. You're going behind cover because you're low on health and you need to get healed. You're behind cover because you've wiped the enemy team and there's no one to go after and you have 82 ammo. Might as well reload. You're going behind cover because you had to, retreat, you're super low, etc., and you have 32 ammo, and you're going to need to be back here. No one's going to be on your screen because you've gone deep into cover because of your low health. Those are what's happening. It's not well, I eliminated the Mercy before I look around, before I think about the Winston that's chasing me, before anything, I hit the reload button. No, that's not what we do. Or, hey, I fired a right click over the payload, and now I'm going to be behind the payload for a third of a second, so I better hit that reload button. No, because you know that it is very likely that before your reload duration is over, you would have more targets available to shoot at. So you don't want to hit the reload button unless there will not be targets for you to shoot at before it's over. And you're going to have to think a little bit ahead of time on that. You're going to have to break this habit of just hitting the button. For some people, it can help to rebind the reload button because then you're really going to have to think about your reloads to get rid of it. But this will add up. We saw at the end of third, for example, you missed out on a ton of damage when the fight was super brawly. Your team was fighting hard, the other team was fighting hard, and you're just mixing in these reloads all over the place that were a lot of missed out damage. Like a lot of missed out damage that wasn't in the poke phase, that was in the actual brawl phase. That's really expensive. In the poke phase, it adds up too, because in the poke phase, it is pressure, but it's super obvious when it's in the brawl phase like that. So work to fix that. And you're going to need to work on just that to fix it with like 5 to 15% of your brain power while you're playing the game. After you've got that under control, we're going to work on your personal bubbles because those are the bigger issue than your projected bubbles right now. So after you've got reloaded ingrained and it's working, and when you stop thinking about it, you continue to do it right, then you're going to work on your personal bubbles, your peanut butter. And those are going to be, hey, I want to try to be a bully with these. I can do these bubble for energy things when the fight's a fair amount of time away, 6, 8, 10 seconds away. Sure, personal bubble for energy when there's a lot of distance between you guys. When you're close to the opponents, when you expect the fight could break out a few seconds from now, that's when you want to be more of a bully with your bubble. You go, hey, I take an angle. If my Reinhardt is here with his shield up, swinging, whatever, and the opposing Winston is here, I don't want to just go here and bubble. That's not what I want to do. though that would be better than what you did in some ways. I don't want to just be like, let me step in front here and bubble with my Z shield. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to go like over here and be a bully and melt them. And then once I get them down, once they get me down a little, then I can decide I'm going to bubble. And from there, I either am going to retreat back to my Reinhardt because, hey, I won't have my personal bubble when this is over, or I'm going to maybe greed for an extra second, so the first half of my bubble, to try to finish off this target that I got low, be it the Winston, be it the soldier, whatever, and then retreat back, etc. But you don't even have this option to try to go for this. You don't get to take these angles. You don't get to put more pressure if you're just like, let me just use my personal bubble purely for energy here. Just energy isn't enough for your personal bubble. And then the third thing that we work on is our projected bubble or our team bubble. And that is going to be, hey, I want to primarily be using these on my Reinhardt, and I want to use them when he's already in swinging range, and preferably when his momentum is carrying him forward. Again, a bubble on your Reinhardt for energy between fights, if it's going to be 8-10 seconds before the actual fight breaks out, sure, fine. But if your Reinhardts are sort of close to each other, or your Reinhardt's sort of close to their Winston, or they're set up in such a way where their Winston, even if they're far away, could dive in on you because the opponents have staged properly, then you want to have your bubble available to actually enable your Reinhardt to swing. And against the comp you were playing into, it would mostly be I'm bubbling my Rein while he's swinging at the Sigma. That's what you'd mostly be looking to do. You don't want to do it when he's hopping backwards. You don't want to do it when he's still walking up to the Sigma. You want to do it when he's actually in melee range of the Sigma or already swinging. Those are the three things that are going to get you the most value for improving your Zarya. So please work through those one at a time. 5 to 15% of your brain power. That's all it's going to take. And, it might take you 5 games like that. It might take you 30 games like that. It might take you 50 games like that. It might take you 10 games like that. I don't really care, but, people learn at different speeds. But use, 5 to 15% of your mental faculties. You might play the game a little bit worse because of that, because you're spending brain power on this instead of on tactics, and that might cause you to play a little bit worse. But we're building it into your habit system, and then once it's in your habit system, you can focus on the next thing, or you can put that brain power back to focusing on tactics if you're trying to peak your SR, etc. But that's how you want to do it. That's how you want to go through your improvement cycle. And after your third thing, you'd find a fourth thing to work on. Or you'd come find me and be like, Temporal, I want coaching sessions. Rates are in the Discord. You know the drill. Speaking of which, if you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe. That helps me out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. If anyone has questions, you can throw them up in chat now. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself or see what sort of events we do in the community, you can join the Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all that good stuff. Okay, he's a Zen main. They're not humans. They're Omnics. Fair enough. Fair enough. If I'm so fun, give me free coaching sessions. Checkmate. There you go. There you go. Jumbo throws Discord on Temporal's pricing. 25% discount. Okay. Okay. Just as deleted from below. Yeah. I want to see a fair Reddit Lucio duo in ranked that just speed onto a target in the enemy's backline. Why? That's not if you have a Pharah, you would so much prefer a Mercy to a Lucio. No, no. And a Lucio and a Mercy take the same spot on a team, even on ladders. So no. Martial arts question. How does woman with weak arms counter a headbutt from male with more weight? Direct blocks put me off balance. A headbutt? I mean, you tuck your head. When it comes to a headbutt is primarily about putting your forehead into the softer, squishy part of someone's face. So when it comes to that, it's hey, I want to tuck. I want to get my forehead in the way. I want this to be a forehead-to-forehead thing, because while that will still hurt, it hurts both of us, and it's way better than taking it to your face, which actually has bones that'll break, blood that can get in your eyes, things like that you don't like. So when it comes to that, it's, hey, I'm blocking this with my forehead. It's still going to hurt, but it's going to hurt both of you. But that's similar to shin blocking. Like, you shin block kicks, for example, and that doesn't mean that it, feels everything's fine. It still hurts a little to shin block something, but that's the best tool that you have for blocking it. And then after that, you're trying to slip under it. Like the fact is, if someone can headbutt you, they've probably already been able to tie up with you, and you don't really like that tie up, so you really would like to slip out of that tie up. But if you're in combat against, if you're a woman in combat against a man, you don't really want to be in that situation in the first place. You wanted to avoid the tie up in the first place because the upper body strength differential across populations is such a big difference that you're going to get thrown around, and it's going to be very hard to break that tie up. So you do want to break that tie up with something like a duck under type thing where, hey, you're tied up and you're trying to throw them around a little bit, and you're trying to shove their elbow up as you go down under and around and probably get behind them, and then do effectively a kick to their heel from behind as you've got your arms around their waist to sort of take them down with momentum there. That's what you'd want to do, but really you don't want to be tied up in the first place. You would prefer to go for some sort of leg takedown to avoid that situation in the first place. I played a game last weekend with a Moira Lucio throw stack that did that. I just left the lobby because he could speed up her rockets and press. No, no. That sounds terrible. I think evading the hit and trying to counter the action would be preferable to eating a headbutt. Well, you can't. People don't headbutt you from far away. People headbutt you from a tie-up, like I just discussed, and you can't really evade a headbutt in that situation. Like, all you can do is get your head down low enough that when they try to headbutt into it, it's forehead to forehead. And yes, it does sound terrible, but it's way better than taking it to the face. Wow, Temporal understands how biology works confirmed. Says men have more upper body strength than women across populations. Yeah, he does. He does. You should cancel me for it. Okay. Uh, okay. That's going to do it. And I do believe I'm heading. Oh, I might. No, I do believe I'm heading into a session shortly. So that's going to do it for now. I'll do some more of this later. Thanks, guys. Temporal out.